Oh, good day again. Okay, so I'll quickly run through where I'm up to with the trailer. Also going to show you a little bit of the process of sanding the guard and getting a nice flowing continuous round on it. But yeah, I'll update you on what I have done so far. Okay, all of the main body is done. Done, ready for the next coat of primer, which I'm hoping will happen today. If not, it'll be tomorrow morning, and I will do a video on that. I'm not going to do it the same as I did before. I'll be thinning this down and spraying it on evenly. It'll just be, like the same as your top coat. It'll just be a regular coat, probably 2 or 3 actually. I'm still going to do it thick because there's still going to be, slight imperfections in it. Like I think I've filled all pinholes, scratches, all of that sort of stuff, but there's still going to be like imperfections in the surface, slight undulation, waviness in it. This is what you're going to get with putty. It's almost impossible to get it perfectly smooth with putty. So this is where you do the final fill with the primer. But as I said, I will be thinning it down and laying it on as regular paint. I'll just be doing several heavy coats. Okay, left guard or fender is done. The bonnet is getting there. I've done all the shaping with the 40 grade file, so I'm basically finished with that. I can put that away actually. That's done. So yeah, it's now been gone over with an 80 grit. What I'm using is my plasterboard sander, half sheet of paper. It's got 80 grit on it, so I've done the whole body with that. Yeah, the whole roof area is done, apart from a couple little bits here, little bits of a low. Actually, that can rub out, I'm not going to worry about that. This bit here needs a tiny bit more filler, so it's just the edge is sort of a bit low. Still got to go around here. No doubt I'll sand it first, but there'll be little bits of filler all the way along, like here and there. So yeah, and I'll also be putting the lid back on and making sure it all fits. I'll do that the same as what I've done up here, which you probably can't see. You can see the tape, which I'll cut through in places, but I've got a piece of rubber in, and not the right rubber because I don't actually have the rubber that I want yet. The rubber I'm getting is, I think it's called the D rubber, but it's got like probably 1/4 inch of flat rubber, and then it's got a thin, like a 1mm loop, so it's sort of in the shape of D. It's hollow in the middle. That's so that it can crush down. So it's about a 1/2 inch high, and then when you shut it, it'll crush down to like 1/4 inch, or 6mm, 5-6mm. So what I've got on there is just a bit of rubber that I found. Just stuck that on, some there, put some down there, which has fallen off now, but yeah. And so the purpose of that, I'll just tuck this back in here. It's just difficult to do one-handed, but get it back in place. Yeah, things are hard to do one-handed sometimes. Anyway, just tuck that back in there, because see, once you get the rubber under it, it changes the height, it changes how it fits. I'll push that down a little bit because the latch will be pulling it down. So this side's pretty good. It's even all the way around. We're pretty well flush up the top here. That's the other reason for getting the rubber on before finishing it off, is you want the heights to match when the rubber's in place. Yeah, we've got that up there. Down here, it's a bit tight. So, yeah. So from the centre right up to about here somewhere. Well, this is where I'll stop because there's metal here. See, I have puttied in here, so I'm pretty confident, that I can take that down, so that the gap's a bit more even. Yeah, we're all pretty good up here. This is probably a little bit thick. The rubber I'm putting in here should actually squash down just a touch more than that. But yeah, we're getting there. Jesus, it's been a big job. It's I'm sort of got over it now, but I was somewhat embarrassed about the amount of putty I've had to put in here. I put a whole 4 litres of putty and that initially ran out. Bought another tin and I've used another 3 litres. So I've put like 7 litres of putty in it, I mean, most of it's rubbed off, it's on the floor. But I've never put this much putty in anything ever. In a car, I've never come across anything with so many dents in it and damage, like this Beetle that I cut it from didn't have a straight panel on it. Everything was covered in bog, and I'm talking like thick, 1/2 inch at least minimum, right over the entire car. And you can see it here when you look. You see where the metal's starting to show through, and because that's a fairly deep dent. That's a crevice. I can't rub that out anymore because I've got metal everywhere, and the shape's good. So I'll put a little bit more in there, a little bit more in there. But you can see, like, the whole thing was just dent after dent after dent. I have had to go along and panel beat some of it. I probably could have gone a bit more, taken the lows up, but concentrated mostly on highs. There's quite a few dents that have come through from the underside, which is what happens in a boot area. People put things in that are sticking up and then close the boot on it, puts dents in from the underside. So, but this is how every panel on the car was. It was all full of dents, covered in putty, and the previous person didn't even try and take out the high dents. They've just covered the whole thing 1/2 inch thick. And I wasn't wasn't originally intending to scrub all the putty off. I was just going to leave it all on there, but then I discovered there was rust underneath the putty, so basically most of it had to come out. And that left me with all the dents that were in it that I had to redo. So if I had a bug in better condition, just old panels in better condition, when I say a bug in better condition, like this was just rusted out beyond restoring, and it had to be that way because I couldn't, if it was in better condition I wouldn't have chopped it up. I don't like destroying a car that could go back on the road as a car, so but I could have done without all the dents. Anyway, we're getting there. So this was, as I said, it's all been rubbed with the 40 grade foil. It's all the right shape. I'm now going over it again, just with a fine scrape, and that's just to smooth out to get rid of all the scratch lines from the 40 grade. So now going over it with 80 grade just to get all the scratches out. Over here it's a bit rough, as you've seen before, just because it was starting to go off down here, and up here, so I was sort of laying it on quick and not bothering too much about it. But down here there was chunks of old putty that I hadn't sanded off, and of course that got mixed up in the new putty, and it caused me a whole lot of problems. So I just sort of left it. Anyway, I'm gonna whack you on the tripod here now, and I'm just about done with this guard, but I just want to show you a little bit of the process that I'm using, whether or not that's the right process. I mean, I'm not a professional. I'm just going by what I've taught myself how to do. So I mean, as I've taught myself, it's been over quite a few years. So should I move that out into the sun? I don't know. Blow it out, take a light on. The sun's just going to make it worse. Okay. Quite often you get sun on something and it makes the car go dark. And, anyway, so what I'm doing here, rub, and then feel it out. So, and with this edge here, I've just gone all the way along here first, because I want this edge to be straight. Put them on there first, and then I've worked up and got the round. So I'm going diagonally across it. I'm going across. If you just go across like that, you're going to get it wavy this way. So you have to sort of go diagonally like that, and diagonally back across it. You keep feeling it. You'll feel. There's a high here. There's another high here. Up here, I may even need a little more filler. There's a high spot there, and I'll pick metal, so I can't really rub it. However, see, when I rub up there, it feels high here, it feels like there's a dip here. When I rub it back the other way, it's far less. There's still a layer here actually. You get it from so now that is a high. There's a high here and a high here. Okay. I'm going to cut them down a little bit shortly. I'll do it now. Do it now. The issue here is, how well it'll tap down. Because if I can even get my hand on the tripod in the way and the wheel in the way. Right, so I've got a layer here, so I'm going to put the dolly just here. I'm trying to keep it flat, because I don't want to put any edge dents in it. It's quite hard. This is a weld under here. That's I actually hit that a little bit too hard. Knock it back up again. Some putty now. Probably might need a little more filler just in there. I've created a layer. Not that great, I can't wait it. Right, but the point I was getting to is that, see, that feels high and low there when you're coming up this way. And when you come back the other way, it's not as bad, and it's because this is still high. And so if I get this down first, it'll feel that little bit different. So. also got hoses along here. It's funny when you do one bit and it changes a bit next to it. This is the value of using a half-speed sander. And if I was using a smaller block, I'd have a lot more trouble getting it smooth overall. This is now, the high is now in the original putty. That's all good there. There's a high spot just there, and there's a high edge. The issue you get here is that the original putty has been on there for who knows how many years, and the paint is harder to rub back than the new putty. So when you rub over it, you'll take it off here and off here quicker than you will off here, which is a bit you need to do. So yeah, just something to keep in mind. That's why I concentrated just on that little bit, you know, which leaves a flat in it. And now I go over it. Take off the flat. Yep, that's pretty good. A little more there. It's still more of an arch here than it is down here. But we'll get away with that. You can't really, I think there's too much we can do about that. A little more curve, but yeah. But as I said, you keep in mind that this is just not a standard guard, this has been cut and joined all the way across the centre. This is two guards because I had to make, the standard guard had to come to here, it wasn't wide enough, so I've had to then cut up the front guard and join it on the inside to get the width that I needed. The weld itself becomes a problem because if I had a TIG and I'd TIG weld, it would be different. When you weld with a MIG, the welds are brittle, they're hard, and it's really quite difficult to panel beat over a MIG weld. What very often happens is that the weld will crack. You try and manipulate it too much. Okay, we've got rid of the highs. Still got a couple of those in it now. Notice whenever I go just a little bit, because I know there's a high here and a high here, but doing that you create a flat. So you do that to get the whole thing down. And then you go over it again. You've pretty much got that. Still a little bit high. Anyway, I'll work on that a bit more, tap that a little bit. I'll probably go over this area again with another thin layer of putty. But yeah, I'm basically done. The other thing I want to do now is check the tail light position. If you've watched previous videos, you also know that I had to add onto the inside edge of the tail light to make it fit together. So I'm changing that shape now, so yeah, so a little bit high here, a little bit high here. Mark that. So I need to take off a little more between here and here. So it's going to come down a little bit. And we've got a gap under here. So take off from here all the way down. I'd say it's not a lot. So you've got about a 2mm gap there, but when you bolt it down, this will flex a little bit and pull it down anyway. So we're left with about 1mm after we bolt it down. And because this gets a rubber along the edge anyway, so I could probably just about bolt that on and you wouldn't see a gap because it would take it out in the rubber. But yeah, I'll work on it a little bit more, get it to fit as well as I can. Anyway, yeah, video's going on long enough, but yeah, so pretty much what we're up to. The boot lid got a tiny bit of putty needs to be rubbed, but this is basically the only panel that was straight originally. I mean, it's got a lot of putty in it now, but that was I caused that when I changed all the back of it and welded braces on, and yeah, whatever. And yeah, there's a couple of mistakes made in doing that. You know, like I had to cut those vents out. Yeah, weld patches in. I've had to change the whole, top edge there, which is in other videos anyway, and then put braces for the new hinge supports. But the issue I had is that this buckled somewhat. Even though I was trying to be careful, it still buckled that little bit, and I went ahead and put all these braces on before I panel beaded it. I should have knocked all that out and got it straight before I put the braces on, because now the braces on it won't move. So yeah, I mean, there would have always been a bit of putty in it, but yeah, the putty in there is a bit thicker than what I would have liked. Where these two braces are, it's probably close to, I don't know, close to 10mm thick in areas there. So it's a bit thicker than I would have liked, but anyway, is what it is. But yeah, as I said, this panel was actually straight, and because it came off a different vehicle. But yeah, it's basically pretty much ready to go. A little bit of sort of looks a bit uneven there, but I can't feel it. Probably alright. Probably enough to fill out with the primer. So, but yeah. Okay, so that's what we're up to. So we'll get the rest of this puttying done, and hopefully I'm going to get some primer on it this afternoon. Although it's getting a bit windy too. Yeah, no. Yeah, probably tomorrow. So when I'm spraying the wind, you just waste too much paint. It just goes everywhere. So, and yeah, being that it's yeah, it's a 2-pack primer with a hardener in it. It's you can't spray in here with all the doors and windows shut. You just fume yourself out, and it's quite toxic. So yeah, and yeah, also due to the amount of dirt and dust that's in here, even though it's got to be rubbed again, I still don't want to be getting a lot of dirt or dust doing it. So yeah, so unless this wind dies off this afternoon, it won't be happening this afternoon. And yeah, so is there anything else I was going to mention? I don't think so. The other thing too, like before I prime it, I'll obviously be taking the lids off. I'll take the guards off. I've still got to clean up this edge that's along here. And that's another thing too that I've got the original, guard fender rubbers that go in there. And they're quite good because I enjoy the profile of it. Like, they're a flat rubber, and then they've got a loop at the top. So your fender comes out here. This is your body of the car, and yeah, so if your gap between the fender or guard and the body isn't perfect, say you got half a mil discrepancy around there, this rubber just fills it in, hides it, does real well. I mean, that's exaggerated, it's not that big, but yeah, but it does sort of, it's more like, it fills in just that little bit. So yeah, hides it. Instead of taming the tail lights, they'll have a rubber around it, the edge, so yeah, it's all good. Alright, what are we up to? 28 minutes. Yeah, that's getting pretty long. My videos don't usually go that long, so, but we've rambled on a bit. Anyway, we're getting there. This is a long way from being my favourite job. I hate puttying, I really do. Don't mind the painting bit, don't mind the fabrication, but yeah. And this is why it's taking a long time to get through this stage, because yeah, any excuse to not do it is a good one, because I hate doing it. So, but anyway, I'm going to get on with it, get it finished. Alright, so thanks for watching, and if you've been following this, thanks for watching the other ones too, and yeah, if you do like it, hit the thumbs up. Yeah, a like would be appreciated. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.